Hey there, today I'm going to be showing you 5 of my family's all-time favorite dinners using the shortcut ingredient, Knorr Rice Sides. So all of these recipes today are going to be extremely easy and delicious. They're also going to be a lot of fun, so I hope you enjoy it, and let's go start cooking. To kick us off today, we are making these loaded cheesy enchiladas. So to begin, to my cutting board, I'm just dicing up my 1 onion into smaller pieces. After I was through dicing up our onion, I went over to the pan on my stove and I added in about a pound of ground beef. And then I added in the diced up onion. You are going to break the ground beef up and cook it through at this point. I'm just breaking my ground beef up with my meat masher. It works really well. Now that we have our ground beef completely cooked through, I removed any excess grease in the pan. Then I added in about 1.5 tablespoons of taco seasoning and this 1 bag of Knorr Spanish rice. The Spanish rice adds quite a bit of flavor. 2 cups of water, and then you are going to stir this all together and let it simmer covered for about 7 minutes. Now that we have our rice nice and tender, we're going to toss in a couple more ingredients. So I'm adding in 1 can of drained and rinsed pinto beans, or you could use any type of beans you like. And then if you like cheese, add in 3/4 cup of Mexican style cheese. I love cheese, so of course I added it in. I'm going to give this a really good stir and let the cheese melt down. Now we're going to start to assemble our enchiladas. So I have a 9x13 baking dish right here. I'm spraying it generously with nonstick spray. And then I'm using medium-sized flour tortillas. Just scoop a couple scoops of that ground beef mixture in each of the tortillas and then roll them up super tightly. After that, these are going to bake in a preheated oven to 350 degrees for about 17 minutes. You don't want to put any sauce on the enchiladas before they're baking in the oven this first time, or else the sauce will make them soggy. So I just wanted to point that out to you. We're going to wait on the sauce, but after these are out of the oven, now it's time to put the sauce on top. So I have a 10-ounce can of red chili enchilada sauce right here, or you could use green enchilada sauce, kind of whatever you prefer. I poured that over the top, and then over everything I sprinkled an additional 1/2 cup of Mexican style cheese. This baked for an additional 10 to 15 minutes or until the cheese was nice and melty. Here's what dinner looks like. We like to top our enchiladas with plenty of guacamole, fresh diced onion, sliced cherry tomatoes, cilantro, and fresh lime, but you could top your enchiladas with whatever you love. These have amazing flavor and they seriously are so easy to make. Now we're making this 1-pan Italian sausage and rice dinner. To the pan on my stove, I have a couple tablespoons of hot olive oil in there. Then I added in 1 pound of ground Italian sausage. You could use any type of Italian sausage you like. I also tossed in 1 white onion that I diced and a tablespoon of minced garlic. I broke that sausage up and I cooked it through. Now that we have our sausage cooked through, we're going to remove it to a bowl lined with paper towels. And the reason why I lined our bowl with paper towels is just to absorb any excess grease from the sausage. Now to the same pan that we cooked our sausage in, we are going to be adding our 1 bag of Knorr creamy chicken flavor rice. I just tossed it right in there. And then you're also going to be adding in 2 cups of water. Give this a really good stir and bring this up to a simmer and let it simmer for about 7 minutes or until the rice is tender. Now we're going to be tossing our cooked sausage back into that pan with the rice, along with a 14-ounce can of Italian-style petite diced tomatoes. Give this a really good stir, let the tomatoes warm through, and then you are going to add your cheese in at the very end. So I'm adding in 1/2 cup of mozzarella cheese and 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese, but you know, if you're not a cheese person, just don't add the cheese in. Give this a stir, let the cheese melt down, and then it's ready to serve. Here's my plate of food. This has amazing, rich, bold flavor. This also is a great meal if you want to meal prep it, and it also makes for great leftovers. I served it alongside of a salad. It's actually this creamy dill pickle chop salad kit. I found it at Costco, and my husband and I, we actually were surprised. We did like it, and we'll be buying it again, so I do suggest it. Now we're making this classic broccoli, chicken, and rice casserole. To begin, you're going to want about 3 cups of cooked chopped or cooked shredded chicken. So I'm just cooking up my chicken in the Instant Pot. I used one gigantic frozen chicken breast. I added a cup of water to that along with a dash of pepper and salt. And I put the lid on top, set it to sealing, and I cooked this for about 24 minutes with a quick release at the end. After this was through cooking, I just chopped the chicken into smaller pieces. Now we're going to get started on the filling in the casserole. To my bowl, I added my 1 bag of cheddar broccoli rice. Next, you're going to be adding in 2 cups of water along with a half of a white onion that you diced. Next, you're going to toss in the chicken. Of course, this is just the chicken that I chopped up from the Instant Pot. And then add in 12 ounces of frozen broccoli. Lastly, you're going to toss in a 1/3 cup of Parmesan cheese and give this a really good stir. You'll want to use about a 9 by 13 baking dish for this recipe. Spray it generously with nonstick spray and then pour that mixture right in there. Spread it out as even as possible, and then you'll cover this with aluminum foil. This will bake on 400 degrees for about 25 minutes. Once out of the oven, I removed the aluminum foil, then I sprinkled 3/4 cup of shredded mozzarella cheese on top. Next, I sprinkled about a 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese over that. This baked for an additional 10 minutes. The rice and the broccoli are so perfectly tender. This meal has a ton of great flavor, and this one's definitely family friendly. My little daughter Brinley, she actually had seconds for this one, so she really enjoyed it herself, and so did Will and I. Now we're getting started on these loaded burrito bowls. So to this pot right here, I'm adding in this bag of creamy chicken Knorr rice. This was an accident. I meant to buy Spanish style rice at the grocery store, but I bought this creamy chicken rice instead, and it actually turned out really delicious. So you could use this creamy chicken flavor or the Spanish style flavor, whatever you want. Just cook it according to the bag instructions. Now into this pan, I added 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Once it was hot, I added a pound of cubed chicken breast, and I seasoned the chicken with about a tablespoon of taco seasoning. I gave this a stir to coat the chicken in the taco seasoning, and I let the chicken cook through at this point. Now that we have our chicken completely cooked through, I tossed in a drained and rinsed can of black beans. Next, add in a drained can of corn, a small can of diced green chilies. These green chilies add quite a bit of flavor. They're not spicy at all, don't worry. And then a 1/3 cup of salsa and the rice that we cooked up just a little bit earlier. Give this a stir and let this simmer all together for about 3 minutes. Well, you probably guessed this step. We're going to be adding in a 1/2 cup of Mexican style cheese, but per usual, if you don't care for cheese or you can't have cheese, just simply don't add it in. I gave this a stir, let the cheese melt down, and then it was time to serve it up. We like to serve ours in bowls. We like to top it with sliced avocado, cherry tomatoes, and fresh cilantro, but just top yours with whatever you have on hand. This has wonderful, wonderful flavor, and if you're new to cooking, this is an easy recipe to make. Now we're getting started on these Greek chicken and rice balls. So to this pot on my stove, I'm going to be adding in this 1 bag of creamy chicken Knorr rice, and I'm just going to prepare it according to the bag instructions. So I just added in a little bit of water. You could also add in some oil if you'd like, but I just didn't. I gave this a stir and I let this cook and simmer on my stove for about 7 minutes. While that was cooking away, we started on the chicken. So to the pan, I added about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Once it was hot, I added in a pound of cubed chicken breast. I seasoned it with about a tablespoon of this Greek seasoning. I really like this Greek seasoning. I found it at Walmart. I bought it a couple years ago and I've been using it since. I gave this a stir and I let the chicken cook through. Now that we have our chicken cooked through and our rice is nice and tender, we are going to set the rice and the chicken to the side because we're going to be making a little sauce right now. The sauce is optional, but it does taste delicious. To this little bowl, I added in about 3 tablespoons of red wine vinegar. Next, I added in 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I whisked this all together, and there you go. There's your little sauce that will add quite a bit of flavor to this. So now to assemble these Greek bowls, to my bowl, I added quite a bit of that rice along with the chicken that we cooked up on the stove. Next, sliced cherry tomatoes. I have some of these olives that I also added. And then you can't have a Greek dish without feta cheese. And then I poured some of that sauce on top. These Greek bowls have so many fresh, delicious tasting flavors in them, and I love how you could add ingredients to these Greek bowls, or of course you could subtract ingredients to really make them your own. This is delicious. I'm sure you're going to love this one. I hope you found a dinner for yourself today, and I have so many more videos like this on my channel, so make sure you subscribe down below the video so you don't miss any more in the future. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.